with your questions. If you have any questions regarding your dog or cat's nutrition, whether that's raw or kibble, best brands, enrichment toys, puppy food, puppy vaccinations, any vaccinations whatsoever, fleas or ticks, anything you can envision about your dog or cat. Could you explain the role of vegetables in dog food? Is the first question. Thank you so much for your questions. Are vegetables good for our dogs? Yes and no. It all depends, really. Dogs aren't really designed to eat many vegetables. They're not really all that biologically appropriate. We are talking about vegetables. Drop your questions below about whatever you may need. Vegetables in dog food. If there is vegetables in dog food, we would suggest you lightly cook them and they don't maybe become too big of your dog's diet. That isn't too much of your dog's diet. It doesn't comprise too much of your dog's diet. Vegetables can be beneficial for dogs, but I wouldn't add any vegetables if you are feeding kibble, because the kibble you might be feeding may already contain some veggies. And so if you are going to feed vegetables, you might as well spend money on meat, and that's what really does matter. Are vegetables good for our dogs? Yes and no. I see, especially in the raw dog food camp, there's two camps: one with vegetables, one without vegetables, and we see dogs that eat vegetables in raw dog food have really good outcomes. They're very, very healthy. They are wonderfully adept and healthy, and they are all great. And then, for example, my dog only eats meat. It's a pure 80-10-10, no veg whatsoever, and the dog is fine. Vegetables aren't really biologically appropriate. Dogs make their own blood sugar in a process called gluconeogenesis, and so they do not have dietary requirement for vegetables. Having said that, vegetables contain really nice vitamins and minerals and can be beneficial. A bit of pumpkin, for example, would be beneficial. Some blueberries would be beneficial. Drop your questions below. I'm answering questions live on dog and cat nutrition, best enrichment toys, puppy food, whatever your questions might be. Can you share your best sources of fiber for our dogs? We're talking dog fiber. And this is something really, really interesting and something that a lot of people ask about whenever we talk about dog food. There's soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. So soluble fiber will dissolve in your dog's stomach, whereas insoluble fiber will simply pass through. So whenever we talk about soluble fiber and insoluble fiber in dogs, and drop your questions below, any questions you may have regarding dog or cat nutrition, please comment below. Um, Soluble and insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber, anything with fur, anything with hair. So rabbit ears or lamb ears or rabbit sticks, anything with natural fur, that is a wonderful source of insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber, maybe a little bit of oats, porridge oats, or something like chia seeds, for example. That would be a good addition with regards to fiber in your dog's diet. So yeah, those are my two sources of fiber for dogs. One soluble, one insoluble, a tiny bit to improve gastric health. Wonderful. My dog gets rabbit ears all the time and he's very, very happy. What can you do for your dog's teeth? Share the best tips for dental health. Yeah, so dental health in dogs. There's one thing that no one talks about whenever we talk about dental health, and that is dogs don't have an enzyme called amylase. And amylase is an enzyme that helps you break down bread or rice or donuts or whatever. When me and you eat a donut, we start breaking it down in the mouth because we have this enzyme called amylase that breaks down starches. Now, dogs don't have this. They don't have this enzyme called amylase. And so any carbohydrates you feed your dog, whether that's potato or or peas or cereals or whatever, will get stuck to a certain degree in your dog's teeth. There's no two ways about it. So if you feed your dog any wheat, barley, corn, soy, any rice, any bread, anything that's a starch that they won't be able to break it down because they don't have any amylase in the mouth, that will be detrimental to your dog's teeth. Let me know down in the comments what your questions are. We are discussing dogs teeth and dental health. So first, try not to give your dog any dental sticks, because those the first ingredient in those is cereals. The second one is meat and animal derivatives, for example, and we do not like those. So I wouldn't feed the dog any cereals, any pea starch, for example. There are, I'm not going to name brands, but it rhymes with IMCs, and these are deemed to be the healthy ones, the healthy choice for dogs' dental health. And it's all a bunch of potato and pea starch. And again, the starches, your dog is going to have a hard time digesting it and breaking it down in the mouth, and that's not very good for your dog's dental health. What do I like? I like things like yak chews. You can buy them anywhere, your local pet shop. I love yak chews. I love antlers. You can get split antlers and regular antlers. Those are wonderful as well. You can get things like bones, but be careful with bones. There's videos on feeding bones to dogs on the channel, how to do it. Don't just give the dog the biggest bone or the first bone you see, and those would be very, very beneficial to your dog's teeth. Anything where they can just have a good chomp and a good clean of their teeth, that would be great. Let me know in the comments any questions regarding dog or cat nutrition, any puppy food, any problems you are having, any allergies, any single protein foods, any ingredients, all that sort of stuff. That's what we are discussing. We have been discussing your dog's teeth, the best sources of fiber for our dogs, and the role of vegetables in dog food. Uh, Canine obesity. Can you explain why it's important to your dog's weight? Well, this is a bit of a very, very simple question to answer. Obese dogs are more prone to diabetes. They're more prone to health issues like joint issues and joint pain as they age. I have a golden retriever. They are very, very prone to hip dysplasia. And my golden is quite slim. He is perfect weight. He's not overweight like a lot of goldens. And so, by you having a dog with perfect hourglass shape, your dog's health will be a lot better. And so that's why basically you just need your dog not to be fat, not to get fat. If your dog is going to get fat, I wouldn't, no, I wouldn't do that. What is the best food for a sensitive stomach? That's a bit of an ambiguous question. um Best food for a sensitive stomach. If your dog has a sensitive stomach, the first thing you need to realize is that there is something your dog is eating day in and day out that is causing an inflammation. that's causing your dog's gut to get inflamed. So that's the first realization. So, the first thing you would need to do is assess everything you are currently giving your dog. Read all the ingredients for any food and any treats you give your dog, and from there, try to discard any inflammatory ingredients. We don't want to see any inflammatory ingredients whatsoever. What are inflammatory ingredients? Pea starch, corn, wheat, barley, rice, brown rice. We don't want to see anything vague like meat meals or meat and animal derivatives or your bone meals or anything too unspecific. So by just pinpointing the inflammatory ingredients that you are potentially giving your dog, and any animal fats which will be very very vague, those would be a catalyst for your dog's stomach to get sensitive. But the best thing for you to do is to assess everything you are currently giving your dog. So yeah, let me know down in the comments any other questions you may have. uh, 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 I feed my dog a bit of yogurt every day. Yogurt is a wonderful probiotic. It's cheap, natural yogurt. A dollop of natural yogurt with your dog's food is a great addition. Is a really good addition. It's phenomenal, really. It's one of those foods that are underrated and not many people feed, and they're very very beneficial. It's live bacteria. Again, it's cheap. Is a wonderful wonderful probiotic. Hello, I'm getting my first puppy at the end of the month. How exciting! She will be an 8-week-old golden retriever. I have a golden. Can you recommend the best dry dog food for my pup? It's hard to say because I don't know which country you are writing from. I would try to go for the highest meat content in your puppy's food as you possibly can. Whenever we talk about puppy food, remember that puppies are running around all day, every day, and they need a high meat, a very, very high meat, low carbohydrate diet, and that a lot of people try to tell you that you should not feed your dog too much protein because they might go hyper. That's a misnomer, and that has been debunked many, many times. So, high meat content, low carbohydrates. Make sure that the first two, three, four, five ingredients of the kibble are meat sources. What do you want to look up for? Dried chicken or fresh turkey, freshly prepared venison, dried rabbit, chicken, things that are recognizable. We don't want any meat and animal derivatives, and we do not want anything that doesn't sound like anything a dog would eat. So that's the best dry food for your puppy. Congratulations. And by the way, if you get your dog's nutrition right from them being a puppy, your dog is going to have a wonderful, 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 wonderful life. Yeah. Let me see. Let me see. I still don't understand why people say that dogs are omnivores. Yes, so this is a debate, and this is a bit of a debate among pet people. Whenever we talk about dog food, it is true that dogs have taken some evolutionary steps to breaking down foods that wouldn't normally be biologically appropriate. What do I mean? That dogs can actually digest some carbohydrates. So if you give your dog a little bit of rice, and obviously I wouldn't recommend giving your dog rice. Your dog might have a hard time eating it, but they can actually digest it. They secrete hepatic glucokinase, which would break down those carbohydrates and convert them into sugar. But that's not to say that you should give your dog 50% rice in their diet. So dogs, in my opinion, should be treated like carnivores and as carnivores, and they are more carnivorous in their nature than anything else. So if you are going to feed your dog an omnivorous diet, make sure that at least 80 or 90% of their diet is meat based. Add a bit of offal, some liver, some spleen, that sort of thing, and some bone. Obviously, leave any questions below. So yeah, I think we can improve on the original natural diet, but to say that they should mainly eat corn is wild. Yeah, I agree. The amount of commercial pet foods that are corn based, have corn as the first ingredient, is absolutely bonkers. Is utterly bizarre and wild, in my opinion. So yeah, corn in pet food, no thanks. Is cheap, is cheerful, and I think it's potentially dangerous for our pets. So yeah. Mm, mm, mm. Sir, can you recommend food for cats? Yes, of course I can. So, food for cats. So, cat food is utterly infuriating. Is really, really infuriating. So, cats are obligate carnivores. This means that they have zero requirement for any carbohydrates. So, any rice, any vegetables, anything that's a starch, anything that's a carbohydrate, your cat's your cat doesn't really know what to do with that. They may need the fiber from vegetables, but that's it. So any cat food that on the back of the ingredients it has anything that isn't really designed for a carnivore, you should not give it to your cat. There's so many cat foods that include any sugar or dextrose, and that is to make the food a bit more palatable for them. But it's a bit of a con, in my opinion, and you should not give your cat rather any sugar. Sugar in cat food should be eradicated, and you shouldn't feed anything with sugar. You shouldn't feed anything with corn. You shouldn't feed anything with rice. You shouldn't feed anything with with any starches. Feed your cat a meat-based diet. If you must, feed your cat dry kibble, and make sure the dry kibble is as high in meat as you can get, and your cat should be okay. My cat only eats meat. He only eats meat. He's eaten meat and only meat since he was a kitten. So, and that's great. Um, we do kibble in the morning and then freeze dried in the evening. Any thoughts? Yeah, yeah. Why not? Freeze dried is wonderful. It's just like raw. You get all the benefits from raw, and it's a wonderful food. Here in the UK, freeze dried products are very very expensive, and you get like 400 or 500 grams for like £30, which is a lot. It's about $35, and that is a lot of money, in my opinion. But if you are feeding like kibble in the morning or at night, and then you want to do raw or wet for the other meal, that would not be a problem. So yeah. Uh, uh, um, Interested to know your thoughts on soil-based probiotics. Soil-based probiotics. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I heard this theory, and I think there might be something to it. When your dog or my dog gets a bone or something that resembles a bone, they might go out the garden and try to bury it and try to just like push it with their nose and try to hide it into the soil. And sometimes they might just leave it there. And I, I I heard a vet describe that if you think about it, if you leave a bone in soil, that bone will start to ferment and it will start to get broken down by bugs and by flora and fauna. And then the dog might go back and eat that bone and eat some of the bugs and some of the flora and fauna as well. And that essentially is a soil-based probiotic. So soil-based probiotics can be very, very beneficial. So if you can get a natural soil-based probiotic, or you can bury your a bone in the garden for your dog to then eat, and they eat it, then why not? So yeah, any questions you may have, thank you so much, leave them there. Please like, please subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.